Welcome to the YCNU podcast. Join us each week for engaging conversations with campus leaders, students, faculty, staff, alumni, and community members. From academics to athletics, campus life, and beyond, we cover it all. Have someone you want to hear from? Let us know. Let's explore the world of Yavapai College together.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the YCNU podcast. I'm Kadu Medina, your host, and today I have a very special episode for you. Renowned speaker and educator, Reverend Naomi Tutu, the daughter of the late South African Anglican Archbishop Desmond Tutu. Reverend Naomi Tutu is bringing her talk, Building Stronger Communities, to the Jim and Linda Lee Performance Arts Center at Yavapai College on April 10th. For this episode of the YCNU podcast, Reverend Tutu is being interviewed by Nicole Kennedy, Chief Development Officer at Yavapai College Foundation. So without further ado, here's Nicole Kennedy and Reverend Naomi Tutu.
Reverend Tutu, thank you so much for joining us today. We are just excited to be talking about your upcoming presence in Prescott, Arizona to support our women's athletics at Yavapai College.
Right. I'm very much looking forward to being there.
So we want to give everybody kind of a sneak peek. Of course, we don't want to spill all of our candy in the lobby, so to speak, but we want to tease them a little bit of why they want to come on April 10th. So we'll just jump right into some of these questions.
Sure.
So can you tell me a little bit about a time that you witnessed a surprising act of Ubuntu in a place where you least expected it?
There are so many, but I will choose one from a time when I was doing field work in a rural community in South Africa. And you would, on the one hand, you would expect to experience Ubuntu in an African community, but I think that the extent of it in this setting where people were very, very poor, many of those families were just surviving themselves. And there was an incident of political violence in the community where a group of people attacked a woman who they said was a sellout. Mm. This is during apartheid. And what I saw was the women of the community coming out and surrounding her in this space and saying to the young people who were very angry, and they were angry because a friend of theirs had been arrested by the security police, and they thought that this woman had been the person who had sold their friend out. So, there was a lot of passion on their side as people who were fighting for liberation in South Africa. And the thing that was striking for me was, one, the women came out and protected her, but they didn't vilify these young people. Instead, they said to them, if she has done what she has done, she is going to, what you say she has done, she is going to have to live with it. Are you willing to live with the dehumanization of yourselves? I mean, they didn't, they're speaking Sotho, so the words are not exactly translating. But are you willing to put yourselves, your souls on the line for something that you don't know for sure is true, but also that will hurt not just her, but her family, and in fact, all our community? We are already hurting from the loss of your friend as a community, from the arrest of your friend as a community we have lost. Are you willing to add on to that by attacking and even possibly killing this young woman? And for me, it was the courage and the compassion that is Ubuntu, right? That even as you speak to the ones who are thinking of using violence, you don't dehumanize them. You remind them instead of their humanity.
That's incredible.
So that for me was one of the most powerful experiences of Ubuntu.
Absolutely. And the way that you share that story, I can just picture myself being there. That's powerful. I expect that people might be crying on April 10th. What do you think? What kind of emotions do you think the audience might expect from attending?
So I would hope that they would experience empowerment, a sense of their own power in the world, and the fact that we need the human being that they are to step up. So I hope that people experience empowerment. I hope that people experience joy and humor, that people feel an opportunity to laugh at some of the stories I share, and then be also laughing at themselves in some of the places, thinking about the times and places that they have had an over great sense of their own importance. I would hope that they would feel a sense of connectedness with the people that they are in the room with, and in listening to the stories, but also a sense of connectedness to the rest of humanity and the rest of God's creation. That the sense that they are a part of, yes, this group that is gathered tonight, but with a whole myriad of people and creatures around the world, some whom they will never see or speak to or get to experience in real life, but just that sense that they are a part of such a big picture. I would hope that they would experience compassion for themselves and compassion for the people whose stories I will share, but also compassion for the people that they find themselves at odds with. And lastly, I would hope that people would come away with a sense of hope, a sense of belief that with all the craziness we are experiencing, that this is not the end of the story. And therefore, the hope that inspires people to work for a better world.
That's beautiful. I'm so excited to see you in person.
Thank you.
Let's see. So what are some of your favorite personal rituals or routines that help you stay grounded and connected to your purpose, especially when you're traveling or speaking in new environments?
Yes. So I travel with books is one thing. One is the book that you see behind me, Everyday Ubuntu, which was written by my daughter. And so that is one of my inspirational books. So even when I'm at home, I try at least once or twice a week to read one of the chapters and to think about some of the questions that the chapters raise for me. And I can tell you, I mean, I've been doing this since the book came out, which is almost 5 years now. And every time I read a chapter, something new strikes me, either in the chapter itself or it brings up a new experience that is a learning for me. It reminds me of something else. So that's one. The other for me is I have what I call a shower prayer. So this started when my children were very young, and I was able to teach them that when mom is in the shower, if there is not blood involved in whatever is your emergency, it can wait until mom comes out of the shower. So my shower became my space of relief, of quiet, of having a moment for myself with small children in the house. And so then I started saying my prayers in the shower. And I have continued to do this. Now it's almost 30 years. And because for me, it's something, because I'm a very tactile material. I react to things that I can touch, that I can feel. And so there is something really empowering and also about being vulnerable in front of God for me to be showering naked, because it speaks to me of the fact that even if I were fully clothed, that God knows my heart, as African Americans say, that there is this, that I am naked in front of God, even when I am not naked. And it reminds me that, even as I am praying, I can think that I am hiding things from God, pretending that I have been a perfect person. But the truth is that God already knows, right, what I have done or what I have said. And so that I am always naked in front of God. But that having it be this very physical experience. And what is lovely about it is that I don't need to carry anything with me, because I am going to shower wherever I am, right? And so having that daily experience is a very centering one for me. And then the last is giving myself the space for quiet, to just be silent and be, and open my heart and my ears to what is moving in my spirit, and even to what maybe God is calling me to in a particular time and space. So, so my rituals are very simple. I have learned from having to travel a lot that the less you carry, the easier it is to be centered. And so my books, my shower prayer, and my silence.
I love it. And I think so many people today can relate to that need for silence. Our world is so noisy, and we overload our schedules. We get so busy, and we don't always take that time to be present and to be quiet and to be able to listen.
Right.
So thank you. Thank you for that. Let's see, you've shared many inspiring stories of global figures in all of your travels. Have you ever had an interaction with someone ordinary that left an extraordinary impression on you?
Yes. I love that question. And again, like your first one, I have had so many so I'd like to share a couple, maybe three. So one is one that it has become central to my faith, and was an interaction with my grandmother, my paternal grandmother, my father's mother, who was a domestic worker. She had not gone to school beyond grade 3 or 4. And yet I tell people that she was my favorite theologian. She still is, even though she's dead, but my favorite theologian. And it was at a time when I was wondering about our faith. And as a young person, had been in church and had noticed that all the pictures in our church were of white people. So God was white, the angels were white, everybody in heaven was white. There was absolutely nobody who looked like me in heaven. And so this was in a church in a Black township. So the congregation was all Black, but the art was all white. And so I had said to my grandmother about this, and this is during apartheid. So therefore those paintings look like the people who are oppressing us. So I'm how do we make it make sense that we are worshiping our oppressor? And this is why I say that this, one of those things that stays with you and has had an impact on my life going forward was that she said, that isn't a photo of God. Nobody took a photo of God. This is the painter's idea of what God looks like. And clearly it is a God that has been determined by their own experiences. In my faith teaches me that I am made in God's image. So if I had painted it, God would probably look like me. So it is the acknowledgement that how human beings describe God has more to do with the human being describing God than God. And that therefore to hold on to the belief that I am created in God's image. So God has to have in some way incorporated this Black woman into God's being. So who God is not determined by how people paint or represent God. It is about who God is in your life. And I mean, if there was somebody who we would call ordinary, it would be my grandmother. She, as I said, she had very little education. She worked as a domestic worker. But that has stayed with me. A second for me would be last year, I had an opportunity to visit Jerusalem and the West Bank and Palestine. And going with an organization, Sabil, which is a Palestinian Christian organization. And they had invited a group of faith leaders to visit with people from a range of Palestinian people. And I can't even say the one, because every single day we met amazing human beings who welcomed us into their homes, into their communities. But I have to say that one that really stayed with me was a family we visited in their home, which was not actually their home, because their home had been demolished by the Israeli Defense Force. And they had put up a little caravan in the yard next to their demolished home. Mm. And they welcomed us into that space. They fed us. They shared jokes and stories, and the community kept coming in. People from around the community kept coming in and greeting us and welcoming us and thanking us for being there. But this family who were living amongst the rubble of their home, and yet showed me a humanity that Ubuntu in an amazing way, in being willing to welcome into their home, being willing to feed people coming from the outside, being willing to share stories, not only the stories of their struggle and their oppression, but also the stories of their joy, of their pride in their grandchildren, in their daughter who had recently graduated. I mean, that to me is the spirit of living in hope and in belief. And so when I find myself feeling frustrated or at the limits of where I think I am, where I feel like I can't go on, I think back to that family. and to the fact that not only have they continued to live, to love, but they have continued to be willing to embrace strangers in their midst. And then the last comes from an experience when I was working as an economist in Ghana. And in going to Ghana, my luggage all got lost by Olympia, which was a Greek airline at the time. I don't know whether it still exists, but they lost my luggage. My luggage disappeared. And I am there, and I'm supposed to be there for 2 weeks working on a project. And it wasn't just one person. So I always tell people, I say, I think that my favorite country on the African continent is Ghana, but you can't tell my family and friends in South Africa that I said that. South Africa has to be my favorite. But part of the reason that I say this is my experience from ordinary people in that situation. So first and foremost was on the connecting flight from Lagos to Accra, a family just adopted me and looked after me. I was so frustrated at not having my luggage and did not know what to do, where I was meant to be going. And this family the children took my hand luggage. The mother saw that I was distracted and distressed. She had her children carry my hand luggage, get me to a seat, and just took care of me. But then the client that I had come there for then had their assistant take me out as soon as I arrived to go and get toiletries and personal things, which they didn't have to do. They are my client. They could have said, we'll give you a morning so that you can get yourself together. But no, they took me out and refused to allow me to pay for the stuff that I needed. Again, what kind of human generosity and care for another human being? That is going above and beyond. And then I had met a young woman the last time I had been in Ghana. And so when I had settled, I told her, I called her and I said, oh my gosh, can you believe they lost all my luggage? I have only the things now that my client has given me. And that evening she came with a suitcase full of clothes for me to choose from. And so my suitcases never arrived in that whole time I was there, but I had everything I needed without having really lifted a finger. And so for me, the statement of all of these people, how can it be that a person who knew nothing about me just wanted to take care of me on that flight? How could it be that a client who could simply have said, oh yeah, go and take care of yourself, wanted to make sure that I was taken care of? How could it be that a young woman who I had only met on my last contract, did not know me really, would take it upon herself to care for me? And those were all ordinary people and who took extraordinary steps to care for another human being. Steps that they didn't need to take. So that have said to me that when I am approached by somebody needing help, rather than feeling done by this, like, how dare you, feeling the honor of being able to pay forward the care that was shown to me by people who didn't have to have a care for me.
That above and beyond generosity. It's
exactly. Truly.
It leaves a mark and it inspires and motivates, and it's something that you don't forget.
Exactly. Yeah, because that happened in 86.
Wow.
And have never forgotten that experience. And I think of it seriously when I am approached by somebody asking for help, to think those people, I didn't even have to ask them for help. And they stood up for me. So what can I do to show that I truly am grateful for that care that was shown to me?
I love it. Certainly, you're going to be inspiring a lot of people in Prescott coming up soon. And when we think about this connection to Yavapai College women's athletics, how do you see this powerful message of Ubuntu relating to our women athletes?
Oh, wow. Yes. Well, as a former woman athlete, yeah.
Okay, I don't even know if I know what sport.
Field hockey.
Oh, great.
I know not many people are playing field hockey anymore. But yeah, I played field hockey. But I mean, I think that one of the things about being an athlete is that even if you're participating in something that is an individual sport, that there is a sense of community that you have with your teammates, which is something that Ubuntu is about. It is about the connection that we have with other human beings, right? And I know that when I played field hockey, that the time I spent with my teammates, whether it was on the field, at practice, on the bus going to sporting events, in the dorms where we stayed when we were visiting other campuses, those were some of the best experiences I had in terms of relationships with others in my time in college. That these were people who I knew I could call on, because if they had my back on the field, of course they were going to have my back in experiences around even relationships, and that they understood the struggle to stay on your academic path as you are also involved in athletics. So for me, being a part of a sports team, a sports fraternity, sorority, community is really an experience of Ubuntu, an experience of my humanity is so tied up with yours, and my health and well-being is so connected to yours, and the care that you show for me is something that I carry now in my life beyond college athletics. So yeah, being an athlete is a core way of experiencing and showing Ubuntu, I believe.
I agree 100%. I am a former female athlete myself.
Oh, what sport?
I played basketball. I played soccer for a minute.
Oh,
I guess you would call it football though, right?
Yeah, I call it, but I've been, my children were raised here, and so they call it soccer. So I'm willing.
Well, thank you so much, Reverend Tutu. It has truly been an honor to have you here with us virtually, and we can't wait for the moment that you're here with us on April 10th.
Thank you. Thank you. It's been a pleasure spending time with you.
Thank you for tuning in to the YCNU podcast. We hope you enjoyed our conversation today. Don't forget to follow and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts so you never miss an episode. Got someone in mind for our next chat? Reach out and let us know. Until next time, keep exploring, and we'll see you next week.